recent trends and future opportunities in pharmaceuticals. NIPER PHARMACON to be held from 10th to 12th of November 2022. NIPER is privileged to have amongst us Professor Padmanabhan Balram as the chief guest. We thank him for accepting the invitation for inaugural ceremony and for his gracious presence at the NIPER PHARMACON 2022. We are also delighted to have Dr. Girish Sahani, Chairman, Board of Governors, NIPER. We extend our heartiest thanks for accepting the invitation for this ceremony. We are also pleased to have with us Shri Rajneesh Tingle, Joint Secretary, Department of Pharmaceuticals, Government of India, as a guest of honor, and we are very thankful for accepting our invitation to the inaugural session. I extend a warm welcome to the directors of all NIPERs, Dean, Registrar, heads of various departments, guests from the ministry, faculties of all NIPERs and other institutes, staff members, students, all the delegates, sponsors, members of press to this 3-day conference. Now may I request Professor Dulal Panda, Director NIPER, S.A.S. Nagar, to escort today's chief guest, Professor P. Balram, Dr. Girish Sahani, and Joint Secretary Shri Rajneesh Tingle to the dais, please. May I also invite the organizing secretaries, Professor Arvind Bansal and Professor S.S. Sharma to the dais, please. Thank you, sirs. I now invite Ms. Devanjana to bring the bouquet to be presented to Professor P. Balram by Professor Panda. I now invite Ms. Abhyanta to bring the bouquet to be presented to Dr. Sahani by Professor Panda. I now invite Ms. Vaishnavi to bring the bouquet to be presented to Shri Rajneesh Tingle by Professor Panda. I now invite Ms. Astha to present the bouquet to Professor Panda. I now invite Ms. Devanjana to present the bouquet to Professor Bansal. I now invite Ms. Anandita to present the bouquet to Professor S.A.S. Sharma. May I now invite the dignitaries on the dais for lamp lighting. Saraswati Vandana, I now call upon stage Ms. Shrija and group. Thank you.
कुन्देन्दुतुषारः रथवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्वृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवै सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापः शुक्लां ब्रह्मविचारसारपरमाम् आद्यां जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणापुस्तकधारिणीम् अभयदां जाड्यान्धकारापः हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधतीं पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे त्वां परमेश्वरीं भगवतीं बुद्धिप्रदां शारदां. Thank you.
May I now call upon Dr. Dulal Panda, Director, NIPER S.A.S. Nagar, and Chairperson, NIPER PHARMACON, for delivering the welcome address.
Good morning. Dr. P. Balaram Padmabhushan, former Director, ISC Bangalore. Dr. Girish Saini, Chairman, Board of Governors, NIPER S.A.S. Nagar. Sri Rajnish Tingal, Joint Secretary, Department of Pharmaceuticals. Directors of other NIPERs and neighboring institutes. Eminent speakers, representative of pharma industries and associations, my colleague in faculty and staff of NIPER Mohali and other NIPERs, dear students and other delegates, guests, member of press, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to the International Conference on Recent Trends and Future Opportunities in Pharmaceuticals, NIPER PHARMACON 2022 at NIPER S.S. Nagar. In organizing this conference, we have drawn strength from the words of the Honorable Union Minister of Chemical and Fertilizer, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia ji, in his speech at the inauguration of the NIPER week organized as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebration at the Institute last October. Honorable Minister had encouraged the NIPER community and the pharma industry to draw up an action plan for the pharmaceutical sector for NIPER 2047. For the India 2047. The schedule has been devised keeping in mind the academia-industry linkage without which the pharmaceutical sector cannot progress. It is also essential to nurture this collaboration if India is to shift from being a leader in the field of generics to a recognized leader in the field of research and innovation-driven pharmaceutical market. So we need planning. In these words of J.C. Penny, growth is never by mere chance. It is the result of forces working together. We are grateful to Madam S. Aparna, Secretary, Department of Pharmaceutical, Ministry of Council, Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer, for her guidance in drafting the program of the conference. Her keen interest and the support of the Department of Pharmaceuticals have been instrumental in making this conference to this present safe. I also thank Sri Rajnish Tingal, Joint Secretary, Department of Pharmaceuticals, for continuously helping us to put together this conference. This conference has been conceptualized as a platform to highlight the synergistic role of academia and industry in drug discovery and development. The conference has speakers from academia, industry, and startups. We have speakers from South Africa, Europe, Japan, and USA. We have 16 speakers from the leading pharmaceutical industries of India. We have had an overwhelming response from the students and young researchers for participation in the conference. We have selected 42 speakers for oral presentation from the abstracts submitted by the young researchers, including PhD students, postdoctoral fellows, and assistant professors of different institutes. These oral presentations are going to happen in 7 different sessions. The meeting also has 400 poster presentations. So 400 students will make poster presentation in 3 different days. Over the next 3 days, we hope to learn from the rich experience and expertise of the speakers. I encourage the students to take advantage of the presence of so many scientists on campus and engage in discussion with them. I'm thankful to the National Advisory Committee of the conference and to each and every member of the local organizing committee who has played their part in ensuring the success of the meeting. Specifically, I wish to acknowledge the guidance and support of Dr. Gesh Saini, Dr. Shashibala Singh, Dr. U.S.N. Murthy, and Dr. B. Ravichandran in developing this program. Our students are our brand ambassadors. Their selfless support and active participation in the conference as delegates and as volunteers are really praiseworthy. I feel confident of the dedicated commitment of all NIPERians and the dynamic energy of our students towards establishment of Atmanirbhar Bharat in the pharmaceutical sector and for the development of affordable healthcare. Along with my organizing secretaries, Professor Arvind Bansal and Professor Shyam Sharma, I welcome you all to the conference and to our campus and wish everyone many successful and fruitful deliberation at NIPER PHARMACON 2022. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now invite the dignitaries on the dais to release the abstract book of NIPER PHARMACON 2022. Now moving on with the inaugural session, may I now introduce our guest of honor, Sri Rajnish Tingal. Currently, he is the Joint Secretary of Department of Pharmaceuticals, Government of India. May I now invite Sri Rajnish Tingal to address the gathering, please.
Good morning, everyone. Professor P. Balram, chief guest of the event, former DG CSIR and recently nominated chairman of the Board of Governors of NIPER Kolkata. Dr. Girish Sahani, former DG CSIR and chairman Board of Governors NIPER Mohali. Dr. Dulal Panda, director of NIPER Mohali. Dr. Bansal, Dr. Sharma, directors of NIPERs, international speakers, industry representatives, faculty of NIPER Mohali, as well as other NIPERs, and other scholars of the NIPERs and other guests. A formal welcome on behalf of the Department of Pharmaceuticals. Actually, I'm standing here in absence of Honorable Minister of State and Secretary Pharmaceuticals, who were due to present here and grace the occasion. But at the last moment, a meeting of the Council Minister was basically scheduled, and so they had to drop. I'd like to just retrace my association with NIPERs. Like, I'm in Department of Pharmaceuticals for about more than 6 years, and I've been looking after NIPERs for quite long, and I've seen ups and downs. Not really downs, but yeah, some critical moments. But during last 6 years, NIPERs have really come to the age. NIPER Mohali, of course, which was set up way back in 1998 by an act of parliament, and based on its success and achievements, government had decided to set up 6 more NIPERs, which were basically set up during 2007-8 at Ahmedabad, Hajipur, Hyderabad, Guwahati, Kolkata, and Raebareli. Initially, those NIPERs were set up with the help of mentor institutes, but subsequently they basically separated from the mentor institute. They are basically now having their own directors, own board of governor. Faculty positions were created subsequently, and basically most of them have been filled up. Guwahati has already completed its campus, and other NIPERs are already in process of getting their regular campus, and we are hopeful that with the approval of Ministry of Finance and the availability of funds, all 7 NIPERs will have their regular campus and all necessary facilities which are required for an institute of national importance. Even with this lack of funding from the government, or lack of campus, or lack of regular faculties, NIPERs have really performed very well. And since their inception, more than 8,000 students have passed out from the NIPERs, and they are working in the industry, in the academic institutions, in R&D institutions. More than 300 patents have been filed, about 230 MOUs have been signed with the industry as well as other academic institutions. More than 6,000 research papers have been published by NIPER scholars in different reputed journals, national and international. As of now, Ministry of Education, Department of Higher Education basically ranks and basically assess the performance of various institutions. I'm really happy to say that out of 7 NIPERs, 3 of our NIPERs, Ahmedabad, Hyderabad, and Mohali, are in top 10 in the country, and we are really hopeful that they will be, other 7 will also be in top 10. Recently, basically since beginning, NIPERs were basically concentrated to run courses on postgraduate and doctorate level, but the Act has recently been amended in last December, and with this amendment of the Act, NIPERs can also run undergraduate as well as integrated courses and others certificate and diploma and short-term offline and online courses, which I hope they will do. Administrative structure of NIPERs have also been revised. Actually, NIPERs are Institute of National Importance and are autonomous and having their own board of governor. But to have a uniformity and give some policy directions, recently a NIPER council has also been set up under the chairmanship of Honorable Minister of Chemicals and Fertilizers, which will have the top secretaries of the department basically working in the pharma field, chairman of UGC, AICT, other PCI, industry body, OPPI is here, and IDMN and other bodies also. So with this NIPER council, I hope the council will give policy inputs and directions to the NIPERs to basically move further ahead. Few of the initiatives which have been taken by NIPERs, of course, they were individually doing a lot of good work, but department basically had proposed that at least they should work in unison. And last year, basically, they did come up with a common research program where basically the expertise and the resources of all NIPERs were combined. And of course, all NIPERs did come together and basically prepared a common research program, and they are working on it. So this is basically kind of internal, basically coordination and collaboration they are having. But even NIPERs did come forward that they also, in collaboration with other institutions from like CSIR, ICMR, and DST institution, they did come up with a program on drug discovery, and basically that program is also moving ahead, and basically we are seeking, awaiting funding for that. So basically, as soon as we get some funding, that program can be taken forward. NIPER Kolkata and NIPER Guwahati did come forward, and they basically, in association with DST, are basically going ahead with setting up of Center for Marine Therapeutics. And this conference basically was an idea and suggestion of Secretary Pharmaceutical, Ms. S. Aparna. As Dr. Panda did mention, that we should really spread the brand of NIPERs and basically extend academia industry interaction and linkages. So on this, to take that forward, it was decided that every year we'll have one international symposium and one national symposium. And to start with, the NIPER Mohali is doing it. So of course, we are at NIPER Mohali, and Dr. Panda has taken a lead, but it's all NIPERs have come together, and basically they are also part of it. Just going back to what Department of Pharmaceuticals is doing for the sector, in addition to NIPERs. Like Department of Pharmaceuticals was basically carved out from Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals way back in 2008. But from 2008 till 2020, till we had that COVID pandemic, our budget was not quite large, and basically about 50% of the budget was for the NIPERs. But after the COVID pandemic, a country did realize the need of drug security to have Atmanirbharta. And we really are, we are basically called pharmacy of the world, and we have a substantial share in the world market, but of course we are also dependent on raw materials, APIs and KSMs. So a PLI schemes was basically launched in 2020 for the bulk drugs with basically an outlay of 7,000 crores. That was taken forward with another PLI schemes with an outlay of 15,000 crores. Department of Pharma also have set up pharma parks as well as medical device park. So these basically, and these are not only financial incentives are being given, but even on policy part, policy inputs, number of things are in pipeline and have moved ahead. We even during the period of pandemic, we, in association with the academia and with the active collaboration of the industry, we did basically come up with a report for R&D policy in pharma and medtech sector. And that policy, draft policy, has basically, after that report and after detailed interdepartmental and stakeholder consultations with the industry, we are at the, basically is presently waiting for approval of the cabinet, which is, we hope that it will come soon. The policy basically looks in, maybe with three pillars as kind of streamlining the regulatory system. Basically, pharma sector is a sector which at government level, number of different ministries and agencies are looking into. So we all did come together, and basically that policy will, one of the pillar will be to streamline the regulatory basically framework. Second part will be the providing incentives for the sector, which maybe will be fiscal incentives, innovation bond and innovation fund, as well as non-fiscal incentives, and of course creating enabling infrastructure and systems. And basically we are also coming up with a formation of an interdepartmental R&D council, which basically will consist of not only government representatives dealing with the pharma sector, but with the academic and the industry part also. So number of things are in pipeline, and this is basically an area which has lot of scope for growth, and basically pharma sector and pharma industry basically is after IT. They are the one of the larger export earner for the country, and to maintain the lead that we have, we need to really shift from the generic to the innovation part, and all those policies, initiatives, and this conference are on those lines only. And I hope this 3-day conference, where basically all NIPERs have come together, we have the academia member, we have industries, we have startups, and we have a luminary of the international experts. So all of you will come together and basically will deliberate and brainstorm, and will come ahead with some suggestions which really government can take forward. And I really hope all the best for the conference. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Today we are privileged to have with us Dr. Girish Sahani as the Chairman of Board of Governors, NIPER S.A.S. Nagar. He is the former Director General of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR. He has also served as the Secretary, Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, DSIR, Ministry of Science and Technology. Dr. Sahani is an internationally acclaimed scientist specializing in protein engineering, molecular biology, and biotechnology. He has made immense contribution in the field of protein cardiovascular drugs such as clot busters and elucidating their mode of action. He also led teams which were responsible for India's first indigenous clot buster drug, natural streptokinase. He has also developed a novel